Hey y'all, before we get rolling, if you run a nonprofit, this is for you. Comfy Stone just released a free 90-day donor retention checklist to help you keep more donors through authentic storytelling. Get your copy at comfystone.com/checklist or click the link in our show notes. Now let's dive into this week's episode.
Missions by
Hey y'all, welcome back to Missions by You. I'm Brenna with my co-host Maya McGee. And today in the studio, we're here with Dexter Ellis. Dexter Ellis is the board vice president of Native Plants Initiative, an organization focused on increasing the use and public awareness of native plants in our community. Welcome to Missions by You, Dexter.
Thank you so much, Brenna. Thanks for having me, Maya.
Of course.
Yeah.
So let's get started with talking about what are the goals of the Native Plants Initiative?
Yeah, totally. So I think it would help to step back and say, who is MPI? So we're a group of about 150 members, very active members. The number sort of fluctuates. And it's an all-volunteer organization. So we have those 150 members, and then we also have a board who rotates, and our members rotate on and off the board and help keep momentum within the organization. But all volunteer, a very enthusiastic and organized club, I would say. And then we have three main missions, or three main parts of our mission. We're really primarily consider ourselves the hype people of native plants. And we do this through three different ways. One, we create and maintain public native gardens within the greater New Orleans area. Two, we do free plant and seed giveaways throughout the year. So, we have various funding mechanisms for that, but we don't think that, accessibility should be something that keeps you from having native plants within your space. And then three, we do educational initiatives throughout the year. So those vary through time of year and who's on the board and what we get funding for at the time. But we want to make sure that people understand the educational or understand the value of having native plants within your own landscape.
Yeah, I've actually gone to a volunteer event of y'all's at the Rosa Keller Library.
Yeah, so that is one of the native spaces that we maintain. So there's a garden in front of Rosa Keller who were super kind to let us take over a large strip in front of the library. So if you ever have time to go check it out over there, I would definitely recommend it. And then we just recently created one at the Lafitte Greenway roundabout. So that's in that mid city area, and it's got like 3 spaces to it, and we recently took that over. It was planted native originally, but we replanted it, and we'll be maintaining that for the foreseeable future. And then we have the Big Lake Native Plant Trail, which is in City Park, and that's a huge space right next to the swans. And is really beautiful, and different things bloom throughout the year. I mean, they do in all of the gardens.
That's got to be a gorgeous space, like next to the swans and the lake. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's really meditative. It's very meditative to walk through, and you're by the lake, and it's so verdant. It's just like you said, every season has something else to offer at the gardens, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely. And in the fall, there's a ton of sunflowers there and goldenrod, and it's really beautiful. And we have a couple of NPI members that drive that. And, they do a really great job, and City Park does a really great job of making sure that space is maintained weekly. So, yeah.
As hype people for native plants, can you go in more details about the initiatives you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, we have the public spaces, but we also do a certification. So this is anybody that has native plants within their yard or has made an effort to put native plants in their yard. We have different levels of certification. So we have 25 plants, 50 plants, and then 75 or 100 plants. You're gonna have to don't quote me on that one. Go check out the website. But that is from the Louisiana Native Plant Society. And then we sort of run it within our area. So we'll come out to your garden and we'll check out your plants, make sure that you have the number needed for your certification, and do a walkthrough with you. And it's really nice to get to know your space. And people love talking about their gardens and the space that they've made for their plants. And so this is a really cool way for us to hang out with other members and get to know their spaces. You have a native plant garden?
Yeah, at a former place of employment, I got some capital investments to make a native plants garden. And so we were bronze certified. We had 25 plants. And it was in a really industrial, urban area. And the soil down here has a lot of old shells in it because shells used to be building materials, much more so than now. But you know those little white shells that you see?
Yeah.
And those make the soil, sorry, I'm going to nerd out.
No, go for
Those
it.
make the soil very alkaline, very basic. And so it's really hard to grow things in it. And we planted native plants, namely maypop, which is like a passion flower. You've seen it, the vine, which is a host for a very specific kind of local butterfly. And
The Gulf fritillary.
Gulf fritillary. And we're on the side of a highway with like totally inhospitable soil. And those maypops came through and we had Gulf fritillaries all during the spring.
Yeah. They're really beautiful butterflies.
Yeah.
And specific to, the Gulf region. And if you plant maypop, you are without a doubt going to have Gulf fritillary butterflies at some point within the year.
I'm just imagining like taking your 15-minute break and getting, like you're in this industrial area, but you get to go sit outside and like see these beautiful butterflies and like see your hard work.
Yes, that is exactly what I did. I would get frustrated or, get kind of need a break and I would go out. And even before, really the exciting part was waiting for them to come out of their cocoons. Every day I would just go and look and see.
Y'all here yet?
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Creating new neighbors, honestly, which is a lot of what you do in a native plants garden. You invite the things in the environment that have lived here for so long already, and you're just kind of giving them a habitat, really, which is cool.
Absolutely. Plant it and they will come. And that's really cool. They were able to do that in an industrial space as well.
Yeah. I was surprised. I mean, I had the time and the funds and I was like, we're just going to see what happens. And it just went off. Yeah. Native plants are so resilient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that we love about them. One, their resiliency. They evolved here for thousands of years or more. So they are able to withstand the heat. They're able to withstand the droughts and so a lot of times it rains way too much here and they can take that as well. My garden last year was, we had that snow that came through and every year I post the same meme. It's the one with like with the puppet looking sideways like that. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. The one that's like,
yes, exactly. And it was something like native plant gardeners watching everybody else freak out about the cold weather. My garden last year was buried under that foot of snow that we had. And a month and a half later, we're in full bloom like it never even happened at all, or even like it breathed a little bit of life into the garden.
wow.
Where if you had tropicals here, which a lot of people do in their yards, those cannot handle that freeze at all. So these plants are tough.
Yeah.
They're able to withstand whatever the environment throws at them. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of the most common things people don't know about native plants besides their resiliency or things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that tough part was the first part of it. The next is we need these native plants to help continue to create biodiversity. We hear all the time. I'm not a climate. I'm a climate optimist. Like I don't want to be all doom and gloom. I don't think that helps with the situation. If people think that they're doomed from the get-go, they're not going to engage. I think that we each own a little piece of property. We each have a porch, something that we can bring native plants into. And if we each do that part, you put enough islands together, you get a piece of land. You create a piece of habitat. So native plants are a key part of that biodiversity, and that goes two ways. So that goes below the soil. So below the soil, we know that native plant roots are creating different environments than would otherwise be there with just turf grass or concrete or even non-native plants. They create totally different environments and nutrient cycles, and then and microbes, which really impact biodiversity further up the food web. So native plants sit at the middle, they add below, and then they also add above ground for pollinators. Of course, we know that butterflies love to visit Bees love to visit flowers, but we also, like you were talking about with the Gulf fritillary butterfly, they're really important host plants for these pollinators as well,
Right.
or for these various different kinds of insects. And then that goes to birds, that food goes to mammals, and it creates a really foundational part of the food web. So biodiversity is a huge thing about native plants. The next thing that I would say is that they are really important for humans. A lot of our crops are wind pollinated, but they're also pollinated by some of these key pollinators. Just like the Gulf fritillary, they can only breed on these specific plants. And so we really need to make sure that we are planting a wide array of plants, so that way we're including some of these specialist pollinators or some of these specialist insects. And then another thing is, we live in New Orleans, so we talk about stormwater all the time. And these native plants are really important for capturing that stormwater. So we kind of go from concrete to non-native plants to native plants in terms of what I like to think of not as great to great. So that if we have concrete, every foot of concrete that we have, that water is going to hit that concrete and it's going to go into the street and it's going to flood, or it's going to put pressure on our pumps here. And we all know that those pumps,
They can't handle any more pressure.
yeah, but
They don't need it.
they don't need the pressure. They do not.
They're not
perform
performing well under pressure.
No, absolutely not. So we have the concrete, and then we have non-native plants. So a lot of times that's turf grass. Those turf grass root systems are not very deep at all. They're a couple of inches. And this is important because deeper root systems that native plants have can go down a foot, 2 feet, 3 feet or more, and spread out really far and keep that soil from compacting. So we've all been to the park or to a concert or whatever where they have a bunch of turf grass out and a bunch of people walk on it, and that grass is as hard as this table is right here. If we have native plants there, those roots keep that soil from compacting too much and allows that rainwater to really seep into the soil. So that's why that's another reason why they're really important here. Yeah.
You unlocked a core memory from me of like 7th grade environmental science, talking about roots being in the ground and helping like rain run off. And so I was like, oh, I learned this. I remember this now.
Yeah.
Real quick, guys, did you know it can cost up to 7 times more to find a new donor than to keep one you already have? That's why at Comfy Stone, we created a free 90-day donor retention checklist. It's simple, step-by-step guide that shows you exactly what to do after someone donates. From how to thank them to how to tell stories that keep them engaged and giving all year long. You can grab your free copy at comfystone.com/checklist or click the link in our show notes. All right, let's get back to the show. When you say turf grass, that's just like traditional grass?
Yeah, so there are a couple different, Bermuda grass, St. Augustine, which is actually, I would argue that St. Augustine maybe not so terrible depending on how you manage it. We just, traditional grasses that you would see on the lawn, And then, there's also, speaking of non-native plants, a lot of the plants that we see here, azaleas, the box hedges, camellias, they may provide some wildlife value, but they, on the whole, are not going to do quite as much as native plants, or not nearly as much as native plants. We talked about those like various ability to host butterflies and moths, or to provide pollen. A lot of times these plants have been bred to be as still as possible. So they may as well just be ornaments within your landscape. They're not necessarily adding to the ecosystem besides maybe like cover for insects or birds or whatever. But outside of that, they're not, you may as well buy it from a big box store and just stick it in your lawn, which is, what most people do.
Right.
Yeah.
And those things are so hard to maintain. Like what I've seen happen in, countless native gardens is once you allow a a plant to go to seed, then the local pollinators, birds included, come and they eat the seeds and then they spread them. And then the next year during bloom, you have a totally different part of your garden or your neighborhood that's gorgeous and in bloom. It takes like no effort to keep them up. Whereas like every year people have to go to the plant store and hemorrhage money and buy more stuff to make their yard pretty. And it's like native plants will just...
They're just gonna hang.
They'll hang and they'll spread and it will be abundant.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
abundant.
Yeah, and there are some. I mean, there are different. There are different native plants, right? Some will stay put more than others. Some will spread via rhizome. Some will spread via seeds. But it's all about finding. We want to meet people where they are. Not everybody has a different garden. So some plants are going to work out for you. Some plants aren't. A lot of things. So I hang out on Reddit from time to time.
Don't we all?
Yeah. And one of the things that I've seen about native plants there is that, they're messy or they don't look beautiful. But the thing is, everything has a season to it. There's total beauty in that season. So, not all plants are going to be in bloom all year long, and that's okay. It's about knowing what blooms when and experimenting with it, and trying out different things that will work for your space. And then you can layer those natives in, and then it's okay to layer in non-natives too. That's okay too. There's going to be a native equivalent, but if that native equivalent doesn't work for you, that's all right. There are plenty of other opportunities.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta start somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere.
Pick one plant, or 2 plants, or 3, or like 100 plants. But yeah, start off with one. We all started off with one.
I love that snowball. That escalated very quickly.
It does.
1, 2. Now you got 50 to 100. Yeah.
It does escalate very quickly. It does. Yeah.
What native plants does MPI focus on as far as planting and giving out?
Yeah, sure. So I'll look, I'm not a florist, but I did bring these flowers. I just went into my garden and cut them. I know. There's lots of color.
This is gorgeous. What is this guy?
Thank you. I appreciate it. So this right here is Black-Eyed Susan, Rudbeckia hirta. So this guy is going to bloom all year long. This is one of my go-tos. If somebody is just getting into native plants, I'm like, grab one of these. I saw butterflies on them this morning when I went outside to cut them from my garden. So the ones that we focus on are going to be primarily annuals. We want people to see color in their space fast. We want them to get hooked. And so we focus on things like, this is blanket flower right here. And this is, this was planted from giveaways that we had a couple years ago. I just planted a couple and they reseeded, and there were more this past year, and they're still blooming right now. They'll get buried. We've had a couple of cold nights the past couple of nights. They don't care at all. We have some purple cone flower and pale cone flower that are kind of blooming a little earlier, a little late, depending on how you look at it. And these are ones, so you might see cultivars of these in big box garden store, but we encourage you, if you're able to, on our website, we have a list of native plant purveyors, and we're going to give you more straight species, things that are better for those pollinators, that have more pollen access, and have been bred less for shape or color, where there may not be as much pollen available. And then we have coral honeysuckle, which is one of my favorite, and blooms all through the winter. Can y'all guess what likes these?
Hummingbirds.
Yeah, hummingbirds. So they have these long tubular flowers. They're red. Usually birds are more attracted to red things. Yeah. And so I planted this a couple years ago and had my first group of hummingbirds that hung out at the house this past year. So
cute.
it was really exciting. Definitely like a proud native gardener moment. So yeah,
Kudos to you.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Thank you.
These are beautiful.
Thank you. So yeah, just a couple of things that, are still blooming in the middle of December. We're a week before Christmas right now.
Yeah.
And they're still blooming. So
earlier you said something about like not similar, but like native plants, like instead of going to the big box store, like finding the equivalent, that's where I was looking for, in the native plants. I'm like, this looks like stuff that I see when I walk through Home Depot.
Totally.
And I'm like looking at, and I'm like, oh, I just need to find the equivalent of what's actually going to work here.
Exactly.
Instead of, as you said, spend lots of money year after year buying the same plant over and over because it's just not surviving.
Yeah, yeah. Do you like pansies? Well, you'll love a blanket flower.
Yeah, exactly. And there are tons of materials out there that are like plant this, not that, are don't plant a crepe myrtle, plant a button bush or something else instead.
Well, we usually end the interviews with a fun question.
Okay.
So, what is your favorite outdoor space in New Orleans? Public outdoor space.
Yeah, I have a couple, and can I do a couple?
Yeah,
please.
Of outdoor fun spaces. So we already talked about Big Lake Native Plant Trail. I love Big Lake, especially in the fall when we have those native sunflowers and goldenrod blooming. I love to go walk in John Lafitte as well. Late summer, early fall, there's still like a lot of stuff blooming there along the boardwalks. Really, really beautiful. And then if I'm can I do North Shore? I know that's not New Orleans, but
We'll
We'll let it slide.
You let it slide?
We
All right.
need people to experience all of Greater New
Right.
Orleans.
Okay,
Yeah.
good,
Exactly.
good. So Beta Creek Flatwoods Preserve is absolutely beautiful all year long. They have a boardwalk that runs through a couple different ecosystems there, but you're going to see pitcher plants, which are native to that area.
Yeah.
Super beautiful. You're going to see the two different types of cypress trees that we have. They burn it every year, so they do prescribed burns on there every year. It's really cool to see it right after it's been burned. Everything's charred and black. And then a month or two later, you see these like fresh green things popping out of the ground. Super beautiful. And in the fall, it continues with the liatris, which are blooming in the fall. It's an exceptional place. And I would recommend it to anybody that wants to get out of their house, make a little drive and stretch their legs in somewhere that they may not have seen before.
I'm putting that on my list for sure.
I
I haven't been
definitely.
before.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Okay. We gotta go.
Yeah.
My favorite outdoor space, I'm a bird girl. And that's how I got into plants initially, was like, if you care about birds, then you have to care about what birds eat. And
Right on.
so then you care about, the plants and the invertebrates that inhabit them. So my favorite outdoor space that I do not think enough people take advantage of is the lagoons in City Park. You never see enough people kayaking through them because you can rent a kayak and you can kayak through the sculpture garden, see all of the landscaping in there, and then you go through around the back of the columns and around the back of Café du Monde, and there's wading birds.
That from the lagoon has, totally different viewpoint.
Totally. And it's gorgeous. And there's tons of irises along the shores, which are gorgeous to see. I mean, our irises are something to behold for sure. So I think more people need to be on the water.
Definitely.
Yeah. More people
I love
on the
City
water.
Park too. I spend so much time there. It's great.
I have two. Spent a lot. Some of my core childhood memories just involve the levees. So I think that like the Algiers Point levees and like just hanging out along there, and then also on the lakefront, the levee, and even though it's cement, the like steps like right on the lake and like the benches there. Such a beautiful space to just like sit and relax.
You like the water?
Yeah.
Nice.
That is the through line. Yeah.
Yeah. I am an Algiers levee elitist. It's way better than the other side.
Oh,
Not good. I mean, we've had conversations off camera about how we just unabashedly adore the West Bank. So
yeah.
There's Gretna City Park on the West Bank too. So a couple of years ago, a couple of people that worked there totally redid the entire park and made it a stormwater capture area, and then seeded the entire space with native seeds, local eco-type seeds too, which is pretty cool, and planted a ton of native trees over there. So it's kind of a newer space. I'm going to be really interested to see how it evolves. But, last year and the year before that, especially in late spring, early summer, if you can stand the heat, beautiful, beautiful space.
Okay, Gretna.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And that was just 2 people that made a really big difference in that area. Yeah.
2 people.
2 people that worked there that said we're gonna get the funding for this and we're gonna bring this vision to life.
Wow.
And they did it. So,
That's amazing.
That's great.
Shout out them. Shout out Gretna.
shout out to Gretna.
Shout out to Gretna.
Yeah.
So how can people get involved in NPI?
Yeah, so we invite everybody to come to our meetings. You don't need to be a member to come to our meetings. We always trade seeds. We always trade plants. We always usually have like a fun workshop or a fun speaker. This past weekend or 2 weekends ago, we did one at Xavier, and we did a native plant paper making workshop, which was really cool with one of the professors there.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. You don't need to be like a veteran native plant person either. We have people that are landscapers, we have people that are scientists, but we also have people that are like bankers and lawyers and just are interested. And that's sort
Just
of
like plants.
Yeah, we just like plants. So we welcome you wherever you are in your journey. We also have like volunteer events. We usually have a couple through the month. So in all those public garden spaces that I mentioned earlier, you can tune into our social media where we do a lot of where we say, hey, we're going to be here on this day. And then we also like to make fun videos and post fun pictures about what's blooming at the time on the social media pages too. And if you love us enough, come be a member, come support the mission. We'd love to have you.
Nice. And where can people find you? Like what are the handles?
Yeah, so on our website, npi-gno.org, and then on Instagram and Facebook are our most active places. So if you just type in Native Plant Initiative of Greater New Orleans, you'll find us, or just Native Plant Initiative, you'll find us. And we have a very active like Facebook group as well, where people come and ask questions, and it's where I've learned a ton from other folks, and where we also will share free plants every now and then, and other tidbits of knowledge and successes and wins that we've had. So
amazing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I hope everybody joins us.
Get on the plant bandwagon.
That's
Native
right.
plant bandwagon.
That's right.
Get on the native
Specifically.
plant bandwagon.
Yeah.
It's time.
It's time. And you could also, like we said, just plant 1 plant in your yard this year, or 2 plants in your yard this year that are native, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another
You
way
can get
be
them for
involved.
free.
You can get them for free.
We're begging you.
Yeah.
Dexter, thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for listening to Missions Bayou, powered by Comfy Stone. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast wherever you listen. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment, letting us know your thoughts and who you'd like to hear from next. We'll see y'all next time.